I'm in a bit of a mood right now after reading some tweets that made me angry. So I just want to shoot this. And yeah, there are some chips over there. Try to guess what they are in the comments, and I'll let you know if you get it right. But okay, so this is what just happened, or recently happened today. So Ezra Klein, who is a writer for Vox, tweeted out, actually no, first I'll go to Sam Stein first. So Sam Stein, this is the tweet that Ezra Klein quoted. "We got our hands on the RNC talking points for Graham Cassidy, which is the GOP Obamacare repeal bill. And a prime focus is on Bernie," to which Ezra Klein quote tweeted, "Never understood why Sanders didn't wait until after September 30th reconciliation deadline to release his bill." Okay, so just a quick overview for those of you that don't know. The Graham Cassidy healthcare bill is the GOP's last attempt at repealing Obamacare. Now, Ezra Klein believes that Bernie Sanders announcing his Medicare-For-All healthcare bill last week was dumb strategy because it now allows, the RNC to use it in their talking points when trying to push their own healthcare bill. So this sums up exactly what mainstream media outlets like Vox and New York Times and Washington Post and MSNBC and CNN, what they don't understand. They don't actually look at polling on policy. So if you actually look at the polling, single-payer healthcare polls above 50% consistently. Meanwhile, repealing Obamacare polls under 20%. So talking points or not, it doesn't matter what the GOP is going to say about Bernie Sanders' healthcare plan, because the majority of people want Medicare for all. They want a government-based system, healthcare system. So this, if we follow Ezra Klein's strategy, it's exactly what the Democrats have done for the past 8 years. They've been afraid to actually push a strong message. They've instead only been reacting to Republicans. And what has happened in those last 8 years? The Democrats have lost over 1,000 seats, and Trump has become president. Now, which party has been out there pushing their ideas, as horrendous as they are? The Republicans. So they push ideas, what they actually want done. Meanwhile, the Democrats react and say, no, that's bad what the GOP are doing. Don't vote for them. Instead of offering their own bold ideas to get people to come out and vote for them. So this, again, is such a focus on existing voters. There are so many people out there that don't go out and vote. Why? It's because they likely would vote Democrat if the Democrats gave them a reason to go out and vote. But the Democrats play pussy. They play games like this, like Ezra Klein is thinking, and saying that, no, we have to be really worried about how the Republicans may react to this. We can't bring out any bold ideas because they're going to attack us. You morons. How are you going to get anybody on your side if you keep pussyfooting around what you actually want to do? And there's a whole other angle to this that I don't really want to get too into, but that's the donor part. So both parties really are bought by big donors. And the politicians in the Democratic Party, in many cases, are weak on purpose. They're bought to be weak. So they can't go out there and push single-payer healthcare because they take money from health insurance companies. Or they can't go out there and say, let's raise the taxes on large multinational corporations, which again, polls really damn high, but the Democrats don't go out and say that because they get a lot of money from large multinational corporations. So there is that part of it where, yeah, there's a reason why Democratic politicians haven't had that progressive message. But when it comes to people in media, Ezra Klein or these other establishment types, they should know better, but they don't. And why? It's because they don't actually look at the polling. They're stuck in their bubble. They talk with other people that think like them, whether it's whether it's Vox talking to CNN or MSNBC talking to Washington Post. This is their bubble. they're in Washington and they all talk to each other and they don't get to see outside themselves. They don't actually, whether they care or not, they don't actually go down and look at the polling on policy. They'll look at the polling on how people identify, if they identify as conservative or liberal. But they won't go a bit farther than that and think, you know, maybe people identify as conservative, but they still want Medicare for all because people attach names to different things. So a lot of people think of liberals as the well-connected people in San Francisco like Nancy Pelosi. So no, they don't identify as liberal. So I guess conservative is my only option. And that doesn't mean they don't want policies like Medicare for all or higher taxes on the rich. It just means they don't want to be associated with Nancy Pelosi. So that's why you can't just look at how people self-identify when it comes to labels. You have to drill down and look at what policies are popular. And if people like Ezra Klein did that, they would have a better idea that, wow, a Bernie Sanders Medicare for All plan is actually brilliant because the vast majority of people in the country want that. And if that's communicated to people, then the Democratic Party may actually be able to start winning elections. Wow, who would have thought? So I got nothing else to add here. I'm consistently blown away by how otherwise smart people who went to Ivy League schools are just so brain dead when it comes to strategy and I guess reading what polls to read. Because it just shows it's so much about it is about environment. What environment you're in, what company you keep, who you talk to, what you read. Do you think Ezra Klein is, you know, watching the Young Turks or Jimmy Dore or Sam Cedar or people that are, you know, a little outside of the mainstream? Do you think he's reading Jacobin? No. Ezra Klein is reading New York Times, Washington Post, himself. So he's just reading people that agree with him. And he's not challenging himself. And that's why you get into these situations where you just sound like a moron to people who actually pay attention. And Ezra Klein, when he talks, sounds like he's a smart guy. He sounds like a nerd. And it seems like he knows what he's talking about. But in many cases, like he's shown here, he has no effing clue.